Hi, welcome back to Love Your Life with Chris Tackett. If throughout the episode you have any questions or a thought hits you, please feel free to email me. My email is catackett@hotmail.com. I really love seeing your responses, so please feel free. Today we're going to sort of put it all together and talk about how to have a successful life. We've talked about how to meet goals, some of the roadblocks to goals. So some of these things are going to sound familiar if you've seen other episodes, but we're going to lay it all out as sort of a guidepost for creating a successful life for yourself. The first item that I want to talk about is having a clear vision. A clear vision of the kind of success you want to have. Not the kind of success that you think other people would be approving of, but the kind of definition of success for your life. So your definition of success may be that you are a millionaire and have lots of toys and a jet plane and a indoor pool or whatever. Your definition of success may be that you get your GED. It may be that you raise happy, loving kids. It may be that you get a top position in the company that you work for. It could be any of those things and many more. But the thing is, you have to be really clear about what success is for you and what kind of life you're looking for. The problem happens that we compare our lives to everyone else's. And in fact, this wasn't in my script and my idea, but today on my way here, I had a little bit of downtime. And so I was scanning through the TV and this sitcom was on, and this mom has 3 kids, and she was talking with her husband and comparing their life with that of all the other families that their kids go to school with. And she was seeing all the negative things about herself as a mother, her kids, and she decided she was going to come up with this grand scheme to change their life so that it looked prettier and more like everybody else's life. And they tried it, and of course it's a sitcom, so it was hilarious, and everything went wrong. And the moral of the story ended up that nobody was happy. Not the kids weren't happy, the mom wasn't happy, nobody was happy trying to fit their square pegs into this round hole. And so in the end, they went back to their normal lives and everybody's smiles came back, And I think about that a lot. My definition of success for my life is very unique to me. It's different for everyone else, and that's okay, and that's the beauty of it. So having a very clear vision. And that's when we go back to vision boards. So revisit those episodes, or I can email them to you if you email me at catackett@hotmail.com. I can get you those episodes if you're interested in those. So think about what your vision is and write it down. Write it down. Journal about it. The next piece of having a successful life is commitment. Having the commitment to do what you've set out to do. It's just like if you know that you want to get an A on a paper or a test, you need to do some certain things to get there, and you have to be committed up until that test date. You have to study, you have to do the exercises, practice, practice, practice. But most students don't do that. And therefore, they don't reach their goal of getting that grade on the paper that they were hoping for. So commitment to carry out the actions to make your goals happen is vital. If you aren't committed, you'll drag your feet and you'll just let it be. But the other thing about commitment is that it's so much easier to be committed when you feel passionate about what you're committed to. So if we go back and we think about how we're trying to fit our square pegs into round holes, and they don't light fire in our belly and we're not excited about that, your commitment's going to waver. So if it's a weight loss goal, for example, and you hate to run, but you've committed yourself to it, your commitment is probably not going to last that long. But if you find some kind of exercise or activity that gets you moving that you enjoy, dancing or Zumba or ice skating or whatever it might be, if you find something that's exciting to you, it's so much easier to stay committed to it. So those things go hand in hand. The next piece of having a successful life is persistence. Persistence, persistence, persistence in achieving that goal. You can't ever give up even if you fail. You know, Thomas Edison failed more than 10,000 times before he successfully invented the light bulb. Bill Gates, founder and chairman of Microsoft, has literally changed the culture of our society, but he, in the 1970s, before starting out, was a Harvard dropout. You know, Abraham Lincoln had no more than 5 years of formal education, but he got himself interested in politics, and he had 12 major failures before he was elected the 16th president of the United States. I had a student one time, so this is closer to home for me, you know. These are wildly successful people. And then here's a typical story. I had a student, I have lots of students who kind of go through this, but this one particular one, she's always stayed with me in my heart because she was so powerful. She wanted to be a nurse, and she came to my classroom as a first-year nursing student, and she could not grasp the material that I was teaching. She could not pass a test, and she was not passing tests in other classes either. And she came to me and we sat down and we talked about what was going on for her. She had a million other personal things going on, for one. But the fire in her belly, the drive to be a nurse, was so strong that this girl said, "What do I need to do?" And we sat down and we talked about her success story. And her first test in my class was a 50%, let's say. And we talked about test-taking strategies and how can you get better at taking tests. Here's some worksheets and ideas and test-taking strategies, and she had all these resources, and she worked on those things. And the next test, she got a 60%. Well, she still didn't pass the test. We said, look, this is a mark of success because you're doing better than you were last week. That's amazing. That's a step forward. And to have that ability to see that she was succeeding, that she was being better than she was yesterday, kept her going. Because she could look at it a really different way and say, well, I got an F yesterday and I got an F today, I'm still failing. But we turned it around and said, no, you got an F yesterday and a higher F today. You're succeeding. And then the third test came and she got a 75%, which still in nursing school is not passing. And instead of being devastated that she could not pass a test, she was thrilled because she continued to see these forward movements. And that kept her going. She ended up passing my class. She ended up learning test-taking skills. She ended up passing all of the rest of her classes and graduating nursing school. She ended up passing the big test that you have to take at the end of nursing school the first time. She became a nurse. She got hired in a position that she had always wanted as a nurse working with the kind of patients she wanted to work with, and now she's the director of nursing in that place. This is all from a woman who couldn't pass a test at the beginning, but she held on to those little micro movements, is what I like to call them, of forward momentum, and as she could see small results, the bigger results came right behind them. So persistence was a huge thing for her. There were a couple other things that we're going to talk about that were big for her too. And the thing is, people will try to label you. They're going to label you as a failure, as they're going to tell you no, they're going to try to discourage you. The thing is, it's your choice to choose if you want to accept their idea of what your success should be. In my opinion, you shouldn't accept it. What you think is success should be your definition. If you give up in the middle of the journey, you're going to waste all of that effort that you put into it. You know, if this girl in my nursing class had given up by test 3 because she wasn't passing by test 3, she never would have passed the course because she gave up. But she didn't. She kept striving to meet her goals. Persistence is the key if you want to be successful. The next thing, if anybody knows me, they know I talk about this all the time, is positive thoughts and positive affirmations, thinking positively. It's one of the most common and easy things, simple things to do. It's not as easy, but it is the most powerful if you can start to get it, to living a successful life. Try noticing what you're thinking about, what your normal thought processes are. Are you thinking in the negative, or are you thinking about the positive? How do you respond when someone tells you their good news? Do you say things like, "Oh, be careful," and then tell them some horror story that's related to that? Do you say, "Oh, that's risky. I wouldn't do that if I were you," trying to be helpful and give them advice? Those things are all couched in very negative thinking. Wow, good job. That you must be so proud of yourself is a positive way to talk to people. And that's how you should be talking to yourself as well. I should be proud of myself and the achievements that I've made. Some people will think in the negative all the time, and this blocks them from using their full potential because they're constantly thinking about how is this going to negatively hurt me or affect me. And instead of taking some risks, they're held back by that negative thinking. And you can control your thoughts by breaking those old thinking habits by using some positive affirmations, which we've talked about in other episodes as well. First, though, you have to identify and get real conscious about what your thought processes are. And if you find that you're a negative thinker, then you have to really start practicing focusing on the positive things in order to further yourself into your goals. The next item, so far we've talked about having a clear vision, being committed to your goals and having a successful life, persistence, and the next one, finding a mentor. Finding a mentor is learning from someone who's already been where you're trying to go. How in the world do you find someone like that? I brought some of my books that I find mentorship in so that I could give you an idea that it doesn't always have to start with a person, a real live face-to-face person. You can get mentorship from a book, from a website, and then of course from people who are in the field that you're trying to go into or in the craft that you're enjoying or just the type of people that you aspire to be like. So for example, if you wanted to be rich, are you going to listen to teachers and friends and family that tell you investing is very risky, I wouldn't do it? Or would you choose to listen and take advice from somebody successful in investing like Warren Buffett? Don't listen to the wrong advice given by those people who aren't successful in the way that you want to be successful. This is what I mean by finding a mentor. If you can learn from someone who's credible or able to teach you about what you want, achieving the outstanding in your life is not something difficult. Ask questions, talk about your passions, your ideas, your interests when you're in a mixed group of people. And when you put it out there, people will offer you opportunities you had no idea were available. They'll help you learn. They'll guide you to people who have success in the areas that you want to be. Maybe not every time, but it's going to happen. In order to find a mentor, in order to do most of these things, some of us have to venture out of our comfort zones, which is the next thing I want to talk about. You don't necessarily need to do things differently than everybody else, but you need to do them differently than how you've always done them in order to be successful and get out of your comfort zone. So if you're someone who's shy or timid, then try to get out of your comfort zone by talking to a stranger or more people. Some people don't dare to do this because it causes them anxiety and stress. But if you weigh the anxiety and stress of coming out of your comfort zone and the anxiety and stress of staying stuck, the risk and benefit of coming out of your comfort zone so far outweighs staying stuck. So start to think about it that way. That's putting that positive spin on moving yourself forward. Start small. You know, you don't have to go do a big public speaking event to get out of your comfort zone. If you would never go to the movies all by yourself, then do that. If you take the same exact route to work and home every single day and you never venture out of that comfort zone, take a back road. Take a shortcut, as my dad likes to say, and then we're 10 minutes out of the normal path, you know? Do something different to shake up your routine.